Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you live around the world. This is part 2 of figuring out how we can accurately mark on our dome components, the hub particularly, where we can drill for our bolts or our strut fixings. I'd alluded to going down a bit of a blind alley, or it was a red herring following this idea. I then mentioned about creating the radial positions on a surface like this, printing it out and putting it directly on our hub. Now this was dimensioned exactly the same as our hub, which was 114.3 millimeters in diameter, or 57.15 millimeters in radius, of course. And I drew it exactly right. I had the angles for each segment, but of course we were working with angles taken from a inclined or sloped surface. So I went back into what I keep on referring to as the honeycomb model, and got the measurements or the positions of the struts on a flat surface like this. Now I don't have to measure a damn thing, which is really good, which is where I was going wrong. Because I've got the drawing scaled to the correct size, I can print this out on my printer, A4 sheet, cut it out, overlay it on my steel pipe or my disc, and mark down the sides exactly where these lines are, and that'll be the radial positions of the holes. So if I took this, I'll just copy it, and if I were to come over to here and paste it, let's see if I can just do this, move it across, slightly different in size. I just scribe down those marks onto each position, and I've got as accurate as is physically possible in a workshop the angles we require for our dome, for our hub. How easy is that? Better still, if you want to do these in a drill press setup, you can do exactly the same thing, but one step, you have to make perhaps a wooden plug that goes into the steel tube. And I'll just pause here for a moment, bear with me, it will be a big jump again. You can create a jig that holds, I'll back up, this is your steel ring, and you can insert a timber block into the ring, and you can mount the combined ring and the block onto a jig that sits on the bench of your drill press. As you rotate the block and the steel ring, it will line up with this part of the jig, and you can drill into the hub with preferably a center drill, often used in lathes or machinery shops. And every time you rotate it round so that this will line up with the jig, you drill another hole until you've drilled all of the holes, the 6 holes that you require for the hub. Every time you rotate it, it doesn't matter, the lines don't have to line up with anything. And this is one of the beauties of it. Now, I didn't come up with this idea. It was a chap that I saw called Brian Proctor, and he makes replica, toys and models. And as part of his process for making the wheels, this is what he came up with. Now, I thought it was a jolly good idea because it got away from any inaccuracies scribing these lines down. The lines are as accurate as they are on the surface. Trying to scribe it down another surface at 90 degrees and it's a curve, you've got issues. And this way, you eliminate marking the face. And this is probably one of the best ways I've seen. And it's for making flaming toy wheels, of all things. So have a look at Brian Proctor. I think that's his channel name. You can search for him, and you'll be able to see the jig in action. You can go one further. If you've got a jig set up, you can, and this is what's really clever, use your smartphone, and again, surprisingly, these things are quite accurate down to the tenths of a degree, and you can make your jig so that your phone rotates along with the jig, and when it gets to the required degree number, or is from the 0 point or back down to a 0 point, you can make your hole. The only thing that these two options don't address is the height of, relative from the lip to where the hole's drilled. But I am certain that done well, we'll be able to use a set of sharp protractor, or the Vernier caliper type things, and you can mark where your distance has to go. And having built jigs that can register to the fraction of a millimeter, literally, you can make the jig adjustable in this direction. This has given me a lot of inspiration, actually, and I think either now this if you want to see the use of the cell phone, a guy over at Winky's Workshop, great name, that's where I got that from, and no doubt other people have done a similar thing, but he did it particularly well. He said all you need is 3 holes, and the way he's done it, because he uses it in his lathe to accurately position or rotate his chuck so that he can put radial holes in tubing. Now, and this guy is no slouch, he knows what he's talking about, and he's made indexing heads and jigs and tools, and I'm thinking, wow, he's using this, and you can actually see how accurate it works. It's amazing. And I'm thinking, well, we have just become woodworking engineers, where we go down to the nth degree to get what we're wanting for our hubs and our discs. So I feel greatly encouraged that we can forego a lot of this BS. As good as the idea may well be, it's redundant, it's bulky, it's fiddly, it's going to take as much to build this as it would to do the work on the hubs and the discs. It also means that if it's easy to use, you're more likely to use it and get better at using it and understanding it. So I may have to make up a little jig just to prove the point, but I've actually made jigs in the past where I've used threaded different gauged bolts, and depending on the number of rotations, you can get down to fractions of a millimeter, because you're just turning the threads a certain amount. Like if you've got a pitch of 1 mil, well, half a turn is half a millimeter. So do we need to get that accurate for this? Well, we've got the ability to do that, and you're going to build the jig anyway to get for the rotational side of things, and I really do like that the guy Brian Proctor's idea of how he made his wheels, again because you don't have to transfer the lines to your steel hub. That's got a lot going for it. Those two guys have they've impressed me, and over at Wanky's workshop. And you've got Clickspring with what he's doing with the Antikythera mechanism, and when you see all these skills, we can replicate them, adjust them to our end purpose. Greatly encouraged. Righty-ho, that was part 2 of this look at making a jig for our hubs and our discs. Righty-ho, I'll leave you alone and I will see you in the next video. Righty-ho, see you later, bye.